I typically don't do these presentations until January, but the reason I'm doing this right now, a little bit ahead of the CAP season, is because there is a rule that has been proposed that is going to change how the H-1B, in fact, it's not just about the CAP. This modernization rule involves various phases of the H-1B process, but I am going to focus on how it impacts the H-1B CAP season. And it's called the modernization rule because it is intended to modernize how we run the H-1Bs and how the government processes H-1Bs. I think they have a long way to go before they can call it a modern rule, but considering what we have to work with, I'll take any modernization that they bring our way. Well, I welcome it. But I'm also going to tell you some of the things that I like and some of the things that I don't like about what what is proposed. So some of the things that I like, and I'm going to talk about, is beneficiary, the candidate. For those of you not familiar with the lingo, the candidates, so those that are applying for the H-1B CAP, they're the beneficiaries of the H-1B. It's going to be a more centric. So candidate-centric registration, I will explain to you why that is huge. I am in favor of that change. The amendment to the specialty occupation definition, I'm not so keen on that one. I think it's going to bring RFEs, more RFEs potentially, because it restricts the definition of specialty occupation in a way that I don't think is beneficial. We'll talk about that. Extension of the CAP gap, I am in support of that. I love that change. Government site visits, and actually this is already starting. As a result of this modernization rule, the government is also allowing themselves, and they're already doing it, but it's going to potentially become more prevalent that there's going to be government site visits to employers that employed H-1B workers. I'll talk about that too, and then how to prepare for all of this, okay? So that's in a little summary of what we're going to talk about. Okay, this is for those of you that are not necessarily been through the CAP before, so I'm going to go through this very quickly. H-1B CAP, or the H-1B in general, is the most commonly used and versatile U.S. work visa, and because of that, it's also the most abused and also the most regulated. Those that apply have to have a U.S. bachelor's degree or its equivalent, so meaning if they have a bachelor's from a foreign country, it has to be equivalent to a U.S. bachelor's degree or higher, master's, PhD. Then the offer position must be considered a specialty occupation. We'll talk about that. It is limited to 85,000 a year, 85,000 visas a year for the whole nation. That's it. And that's why we end up with lotteries. There have been more candidates than visas available for way longer than 2020, almost for as long as I can remember. But the registration process started in 2020, and it has never been the same any year. Every year has been different. And so when I have clients ask me, well, what should I expect? I hesitate because there hasn't been anything that has been consistent. And this year will be different too. But there are some things that have remained the same. And those are some of the stuff that I put after. Registration for the lottery opens typically in March. Last year, I believe, opened March 1st. The regulations require that it opens for at least 14 days in March. Then it closes, and the lottery typically happens at the end of March. And typically by April 1st, we already know who has been selected. And then those selected and approved transfer to H-1B status October 1st, meaning fiscal year 2025, which is a little crazy, but that's kind of how the process works, okay? So that's some of the basics. So again, the CAP, which is unique to H-1Bs, 65,000 plus 20,000, that's what gives us the 85,000. Lottery, if more registrants are received, more registrations received than visas available, there's a lottery. The lottery is computer generated, and I typically imagine this computer just going at the USCIS headquarters, spitting out numbers. Those that have a U.S. master's or higher have a slightly greater chance of selection because they're entered into the lottery twice. They're entered into the 65,000 general lottery, and then they're entered into their own lottery of 20,000. So they have a little higher chance of getting selected. I think, yeah, so that's my basics for you. Now I'm going into the modernization rule and what is that all about. So it is, and for those of you that were here at the beginning, I said it's a massive rule. Not only affects the H-1B cap, but it affects the H-1B in general. 227 pages of law that I've glanced at, reviewed, in order to come up with some of the stuff that potentially is the most helpful to you at this point. And I will continue to provide updates as to how this evolves. I want you to know that rule is under comment period. It has been on the public comment period for 60 days that ends December 22nd. In fact, AILA, the American Immigration Lawyers Association, last week submitted their comments to the rule. So in 2 days from now, the public comment will close. What we expect is that there's going to be one more round of, potentially public comments, edits to whatever has been proposed, and then we'll get the final rule. What we also expect is that not all the proposed, out of those 227 pages, not everything is going to happen. Not everything is going to happen by April 1st, but there are some things that we know USCIS is already working on that should come into effect when we go into the lottery in April, and that is the reason why I'm doing this kind of ahead of January. So likely to become effective. And I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold. So if I cough or I have my little tea here, sorry about that. But so this is kind of what I expect that would become applicable as of April when we go into the lottery, or before, because registration happens in March. This beneficiary candidate-centric registration, which again, I believe is a positive. So I'm really rooting for that to become effective. Amending the definition of a specialty occupation, that may require a lot more comment, because I can guarantee there's but may affect, just want you to be aware of that would entail. The extension, I'm hopeful that goes into effect, because again, it is a positive thing. The site visits are also likely to go into effect because they're already happening. So it's a matter of happening more. Okay, so what is this beneficiary-centric registration? What that means is, and you're going to see, I think the next slide. Oh no. I do have a slide that shows what happened last year during the cap. And basically what happened last year and during the cap is we had almost twice the amount of registrants, so the candidates that were registered at least twice, if not 3 or 4 or 5 times, which was ridiculous. It shouldn't happen. It totally diluted the abilities of those that were only entered into the cap once, which is how the law was designed to work. It diluted their chances of getting selected, and it was horrendous. So this candidate-centric registration, what it's going to entail is that the emphasis, instead of it being put on the employer, which is kind of what it was happening, what's happened since 2020, there's going to be more emphasis on the candidate themselves as they're putting to the registration. So even if one candidate has 4 entities registering him or her, the person is going to be selected only once under the lottery, which is what is supposed to happen. But so that will increase the chances of all of those that are actually registering once, as they're supposed to actually get selected, which is what has happened in the past. So again, I believe this is awesome for those that are working the system correctly, but it is going to put more pressure on the registrants on the information that is going to need to be provided. So I foresee that the registration page is going to have some changes. And again, I believe USCIS is already working on that. At least that's what we've heard. And one of the things that because some of you may jump out early, but one of the things that I'm going to say on my slide as to how to prepare is, as you talk to your candidates that you may be entering into the lottery, please make sure, starting now, that they have a valid passport, that they can provide a valid passport number, country of issue, and expiration date. There were at least 3 candidates last year that I was not able to register because they did not have a valid passport. And we may think, well, because of COVID, everything like this that requires government intervention and other things is taking a lot longer. So some of them had started the revalidation or getting the passport renewed months ago. But by the time March came around, they still had not had a valid passport. So if one of the things that I want you to take out of this presentation is, please make sure that your candidates have a valid passport by March 1st as much as possible, because that most likely is going to come into effect. Okay, you heard me talk about the specialty occupation. My little images here kind of depict, like, am I happy or not happy about this? So the changes to the specialty occupation that proposed, still, I don't know what's going to happen, but basically they're saying that if the person has a general degree, and this is for USCIS interpretation, the 2 examples that they have provided is someone with a business administration or someone with a liberal arts degree. USCIS considers that a general degree, meaning in their eyes is not enough to constitute a specialty occupation unless they have additional specialization. So say business administrations with a specialty in finance or whatever. And I literally have had, not many, most of my candidates from our employer clients have a bachelor's degree in architecture, a bachelor's degree in urban design, a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, a bachelor's degree in accounting, whatever. But there is every so often that I find those that, come from a bachelor's degree in India or China or Mexico or whatever. That is a general degree. Business administration, because that was the thing to get in their country. And then they took other courses, or they just learned themselves through work experience to do other things like IT or etc. And we would have a very difficult time of putting those candidates through the lottery if this were to pass. So just keep that in mind. I'm not going to dwell on it because we're not there yet, but it's what is proposed. Now this one, and you don't see the little girl behind me, but I like. And the reason I like this one is because what is being proposed right now, those that are on OPT EAD, which is many of the candidates that we're entering through the lottery, the current cap gap runs from their expiration of their EADs, typically June 30th or something. So if they get selected under the lottery and the case was filed and accepted, which that's typically what happens with my cases, yay, thanks to you because it's a partnership, their EAD gets automatically extended until September 30th. But if their petition, H-1B, because of the delays of the government, was not adjudicated by October 1st, then they can stay in the United States, but they cannot work. And that is really horrendous. So the proposed rule proposes to extend that EAD authorization beyond October 1st, all the way through April 1st of the fiscal year. So April 1st, 2025, say. That is huge in my eyes, because it will allow you to continue to employ those workers that have an EAD that, potentially would expire in the middle of the summer, and they will continue to be able to work under that EAD past October 1st, even if their petition was not adjudicated. So huge. Okay, I've been talking for a while. Let me know, do you like this rule? I want to make sure that you're with me. Tell me in the chat. Yes. Yay. Thank you. Okay. I'd like to see that you're paying attention. Love it. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I think it's really good. I mean, this should have been done a long time ago, but hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay. So this is kind of a little this is what's been happening. So hit September 30th, you're done. Now with this new rule, if the petition was not adjudicated by then we continue on until April 1st of the following year. So again, yay, it's awesome. Now, this year, granted, USCIS did a really good job, so I'm going to give credit where it's due. They did a really good job. Most of our cases were approved before October 1st, but that doesn't happen all the time. And I remember years telling our employers and our clients, oh my God, September 15, let's consider premium, or you will not be able to work. So yay, loving this. Okay. I don't wear that many high heels, but I thought those would be good. I'm neutral about the site visits, so my neutral shoe colors. This is, like I said, this is already happening. And this modernization rule basically codifies this into the law and kind of widens the rights of USCIS to do the site visits. I will be doing more presentations about what to expect, what to do into the new year, because I know this is coming, and it's not horrendous in a sense, because I know all of you are, could pass the site visit because you're all doing the right thing, and you have everything that you need. But it is scary. It's scary when a government officer shows up at your door and said, hey, I'm here from USCIS and I would like to inspect you, right? H-1B records, or talk to your H-1B worker and talk to your H-1B manager. And that is kind of what happens, okay? So kind of set your minds that this, if it hasn't happened already, it is likely to happen as we move into the future. Okay, so how to prepare? I think I'm doing pretty good here. 21 minutes, yay. Okay, let me take a breath here. So, timeline, what to do. First thing first, preparation. That is what you're all doing right now, and I thank you for being here, because preparation gets you halfway there. Again, as I said before, I'm doing this a little bit ahead of time. I typically do these presentations in January. I will be doing my typical presentations in January. So what I will do is one that is employer-based, because employers typically have little different questions than the employees. And in the past, I've done them both together, and I've realized that you get a lot more out of doing them separately, even though you're welcome to attend both if you want. But I will be doing what do I need to know to prepare for the H-1B cap season for employers, and same deal for nationals. So that's happening in January. In the meantime, I will be giving you some things to start doing now. Registration, as you know, as I said, it will happen in March. Typically towards the beginning of March. I'll talk a little more about that on the following slides. Then we have the lottery, typically right at the end of March. So at the beginning of April, we know who has been selected. And as every year, the lottery happens maybe a Friday, And I know Saturdays and Sundays, I spend my weekend behind the computer because I keep getting notifications. You have received an update on your case. You have received an update on your case. And I know some of you that have been through this before know what I'm talking about. USCIS, I don't know why they send all of those emails over the weekend. So by Monday or Tuesday, we kind of have an idea who was selected. And then we go into the preparations of the H-1Bs, which we only have 90 days to prepare and file. So that is why we do a lot of due diligence in March and February. And typically by the end of February, we want to have our due diligence done, meaning some basic information that I'm going to ask you to be preparing. And then it's the USCIS adjudication. Okay, this is a recap of what happened last year so that you kind of have some expectations. For those of you who do not have a My USCIS account on portal, and that is anyone probably that has not been through the lottery, an employer that has not registered anyone in the lottery before, you will have to create a My USCIS online portal. I will guide you through that if you're one of our clients. Those accounts typically last year opened February 21st, so you need to be ready to create those accounts with us. It's actually probably one of the simplest things in the process, but just know that, the timeline. Then the registration window for last year was from March 1st to March 17th. Filing window was from April 1st to June 30th. And last year we had a second lottery because of all the craziness that happened. And the second lottery was announced July 31st, and we had a filing window of August 2nd to October 31st. As you can see, it's a very fast-paced process. So organization and working together is critical. It's teamwork. I tell you all, I have a role to play. My team has a role to play. Employers have a role to play. The candidates have a role to play. And if we all do it right, we are very successful. And that is what has happened in every season so far. Okay, so what to do now, employers, which is primarily who I designed this webinar for. Confirm your list of H-1B candidates. Start doing that right now. Again, January is here. February will be here even faster. And like I said, by March, beginning of March, we need to start registering people. And most likely we're going to need more information than we had in the past because they're making this more employee-centric. And we don't know exactly what we're going to need except for the passport. So confirm the list of H-1B candidates. Confirm the work location. This is key. Last year, we had confirmed the work location for October. So this is what I need you to think about. Where is that candidate going to be working October 1st and beyond? Is it going to be hybrid or fully remote? And if it is fully remote, what is their, what is the location? Are they working from home? I need that address, okay? So in this remote world, the work location and what the situation is critical for us to know because the labor certification that is going to go with your petition needs to reflect this. And it is changing so much. I've done several amendments because H-1B amendments because work locations have been changing. So just keep this in mind as you prepare for next year. Confirm wages. This is something else. This information, again, it becomes effective October 1st. So all the data that you collect to give us for the registration or for the H-1B petition itself, start thinking what is going to happen October 1st. So again, work location, wages as of that date. Inform the candidates that they must have a valid passport. Determine who your signatory is going to be. Again, in some of your companies, you may have various people. Who is the person that is going to sign the LCA, that is going to sign the notices, that is going to sign the petitions, that is going to sign my USCIS account, please determine that now, okay? And stay alert. I mean, the comment period closes in 2 days. Who knows what the final is going to be, but here I'm giving you some proactive knowledge as to, what to start thinking about and preparing. And again, stay tuned. See here. Okay. On the scale to 1 to 10. Okay, let me see in the chat. 1 to 10. Are you more confident or totally confused about the H-1B cap now versus when you started at the beginning? Just give me some numbers, just for the sake of knowing that you're here. Oh, somebody's 11. I love it. Oh, I thought I was one of those over-optimistic people. I think there's more than me, and I like that. Yes, it is. So it is, I'm sorry. So yes, it is October 2024 for the wage and work information. Thank you, Kyle. Okay. Well, I am thrilled to hear that this has totally up-leveled your knowledge. If you're, okay, so here's something else, because I am going, so take your phones out, scan the QR code, because I want to make this as helpful as I can for you, okay? So as I prepare what employers should know for the H-1B cap season for next year, as I prepare as to what employees should know, and I know I have a combination of employers and employees here, please use your QR code. This is pretty much an open form. Tell me more about what you would like to know about the H-1B cap, so that when I prepare that presentation, I can actually address as much as I can the things that are keeping you up at night, if anything. Okay, so let me help you as best as I can. You're investing your time, my time. Let's make it as beneficial as possible. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, that's another opportunity to get your little thing and connect with me on LinkedIn, because I put a lot of information on LinkedIn also that I don't necessarily send via email, because I don't want to overwhelm you. So you can keep track of what I'm putting there also. And I hope for all of you, some of you may have seen this before, some may not, but this is what the registration selection notice looks like. So I hope all of your cases get selected next year. That is my hope. I thank you for being here with me. I cannot believe that it's 2:31. I was like, there's no way I can cover this in 30 minutes, but I did. Yay. Thank you for being engaged. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to working with all of you on a very successful H-1B cap season. Happy holidays. Thank you. And I will talk to all of you soon. Take care. Bye.